Let's continue, of course, with the story. It is the leading story. Murderer and rapist Thabo Bester is still keeping authorities on their feet. Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi earlier addressed issues surrounding Bester's true identity. For more on this, we are joined by Moloko Moloto. He is in Pretoria, where the briefing was taking place. Moloko, a lot of people asking if this man is really Thabo Bester. At some point, I think last week, someone came out to say he's the real Thabo Bester and this man stole his identity. What's the story there? What is Motsoaledi saying?
Good afternoon, Masero. Well, it would appear that the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, was trying to really unmask this man and give us what he believes to be his true identity. Yes, you're correct. At some point, there were reports that he had stolen the identity of one Mr. Thabo Bester who lives in Heidelberg. And we had today the minister saying that after they followed an interview that was done by our very own Slindelo Masikane with the mother or the woman who had said she was the mother of Thabo Bester, they, as the officials from the Department of Home Affairs, paid her a visit to determine exactly who he was. The minister says that visit was very helpful in that they have managed, actually, with the assistance of the mother who insisted that she was indeed the mother of the man who was being sought. She said that she gave birth to him on the 13th of June 1986 at the Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, and when, as the officials from the Home Affairs Department went there to peruse the papers at the hospital, indeed there was confirmation. So the minister essentially was saying that it did not seem to be, or in fact it is the case, Mr. Thabo Bester never stole the identity of the other Mr. Thabo Bester. When they searched in their systems, they found that the Thabo Bester from Heidelberg, indeed, he's about 40, he exists. And there was another Thabo Bester who seems to be young. He is 19. And it turns out that this Thabo Bester, when he was born, indeed, the records indicate that he was named Thabo and the surname was Bester. So they are confident that he never had an ID, South African ID. He also never had a South African passport. And they now believe they are in a position to, if he wants an ID book, they can give him that particular ID. Another thing that he says, they have managed to go to the school, the primary school south of Johannesburg, where apparently a white person, they say, it is believed was the employer of the mother, registered him as a youngster, and he studied until grade 5. So maybe let's listen to Minister Aaron Motsoaledi as he was elaborating there.
When we learned from TV that there's a lady who appeared on TV and declared that is Thabo Bester's mother, we decided that maybe that could be the clue. We paid her a visit, and indeed, we paid her a visit to Home Affairs. Indeed, she insisted that she's the mother of Thabo Bester. She even gave us his date of birth and told us that she gave birth to this gentleman at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital on the 13th of June, 1986. I've seen on several media that he was born somewhere between 1983 and 1986. He was actually born on the 13th of June, 1986. And indeed, we rushed to Bara Hospital and checked in their archives, and what this lady told us is true. Thabo Bester, if you go to archives in Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, you'll find him in the labor ward of the hospital. The date on which he was born and who gave birth to her and all that. So Thabo Bester does exist actually as Thabo Bester. And the mother in the records at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital was recorded as Macy Bester.
And Moloko, can you give us more details about these passports that Dr. Nandi Pamakudumana was found in possession of when they were arrested in Tanzania? Because if you remember, I think it was last week, there's a partner of ours, Dr. Peya, who said that Dr. Nandipa had taken one of her passports because they were supposed to go on a work trip to the US. Does it have anything to do with that?
Well, firstly, maybe let's deal with the steering himself, Mr. Thabo Bester. He was found when he was arrested in Tanzania in possession of a passport, and that passport was written Tom Williams Kelly. It was an American passport, and the Minister of Home Affairs in South Africa saying they are not in a position to authenticate and check if that particular passport is fake or not, because that would mean they must have access to the American records. Now, when it comes to the passports which the Dr. Nandipa Magudumana was found in possession of, the minister is saying that she herself, Dr. Magudumana, I think in 2006, first applied for a legitimate South African passport. That's what she's been using all along. It expired. She applied for another one, I think in 2019, and that passport is still valid until 2027. And the last time she used officially that particular passport was when she was returning in 2022 from Zimbabwe, landing at OR Tambo International Airport. Now, the passports she was found in possession of when she was arrested, according to the minister, there is one Dr. Patience Nchana. This is the woman who, at some point, wrote an affidavit and telling the Home Affairs Department that her first passport was lost. That was her first statement, according to the minister. And later, a few years later, I think last year or so, she came back to the department to say that actually she has given her second passport, one that was active, to Dr. Magudumana and Thabo Bester, on the promise that the two had promised to secure her a job in the United States. Now, ironically, the very first passport that Dr. Nchana told the police through an affidavit in the Home Affairs Department, the first passport that expired, was then found in possession of Dr. Magudumana. Remember, the Dr. Nchana had said that it had been lost. Now, the question, therefore, is whether she was telling the truth, that even the first passport was lost or not. Now, the minister is saying that, look, that's a story for you perhaps to determine whether indeed Dr. Nchana was telling the truth or not. And she also applied for her own third passport, but she never came to collect it. It is still with the Home Affairs Department. Let's listen to Minister Motsoaledi.
When she was caught in Tanzania, she was found in possession of this passport, which expired in 2027, which she last used on the 12th of May 2022, coming from Bulawayo. She was found with that passport. But she was found with two other passports, and that's where the story of multiple passports come in. But those two passports don't belong to her. They belong to a Dr. Mereka Patience Martha Ntani. She was carrying her passports. Now, one of these passports she was carrying had actually expired on the 24th of July 2022, because we issued it to Dr. Ntani on the 25th of July 2012. So midnight on 24th of July 2022, it expired, but she was carrying it. And look, it beats us as to why she was carrying an expired passport.
All right, that was a snippet of the media briefing that Moloko Moloto was attending in Pretoria by Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi.